right, we welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30 The Tiger. We're pleased to welcome in a national champion and a native of Shreveport Bossier City. He is the LSU baseball catcher, Hayden Travinski. Hayden, man, so nice of you to join us. How are you?
I'm good, Patrick. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's absolute pleasure, brother. First, before we get into what you're doing tomorrow and all that stuff, we need to solve we need a question answered. Because, look, you've lived here. You understand Bossier people are hacked off that your bio says you're from Shreveport. I'm a Shreveport guy, and everyone in Shreveport just says everything in this area is Shreveport. If it's Airline High School, it might as well just be Shreveport. Bossier people think there's some massive dividing line between Shreveport and Bossier. So figure this out. Help me solve this question, and for all these people that are out there, Shreveport or Bossier? You have Shreveport listed on the official bio. Kind of walk me through this.
Well, I was born in Shreveport.
Okay.
The hospital was in Shreveport, and then I went to Loyola for 2 years.
Right.
In Shreveport, and then graduated from Airline, just in Bossier. So, I don't know. Being born here, it felt right just to. And plus, people don't know Bossier like they know Shreveport.
Sure.
Like if someone says, "Where are you from?" and I say Bossier, and they're like, "Where the hell's that at?"
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. And again, I'm a Shreveport native, so those people across the river, I don't even know who those people are. I don't get it. It is funny, though, because that's probably the comment I get the most. And as a matter of fact, it's the first comment I got on the text line. When you're getting ready to set this up, they said, please tell him that he stop saying he's from Shreveport. Like, well, there's a reason for that. I mean, and you're right. It's a little name recognition, and it's also you were born there. So it makes a lot of sense. Although I was asking, is this like a Jalen Hurts situation? Does Loyola get to claim you as well as Airline, like Hurts gets Oklahoma and Alabama both trying to claim him?
I don't know if it's as prominent. You know what I mean? That's universities. I did graduate from Airline, so I think they may have a leg up on it there.
Okay. Yeah, I can't argue with you on that. Hey, you got a really cool thing happening tomorrow from 2 to 5 over at the Mansfield Walmart. $20 donation to the Children's Miracle Network coming out. I'm assuming you're doing pictures and autographs, that kind of thing. Kind of tell us about it.
Yeah, I believe it's photos and autographs from 2 to 5, and I'm just thankful to get the opportunity to give back and be presented with this opportunity.
It's interesting because we were just talking about, right, we've seen the shirts and the hats that have showed up all of a sudden. It's your Fu Manchu, it's your sunglasses. How cool is that for a kid, a student athlete now, to be able to take advantage of something like that, right? Because 10 years ago, if someone, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, would have been a perfect candidate to make a bunch of money off of his own merchandise, and yet he didn't have the chance to. How cool is that for y'all to have that opportunity?
Well, I think it opens up opportunities for all student athletes across the entire country, just to have the ability to make money off your name, your likeness, and everyone gets to tell their own story through that. So it's pretty unique and interesting. And like you said, there's been so many big names that have missed out on those chances. And I think it just gives even players from smaller schools are able to make some money off the name. It's just cool opportunities. Yeah,
this is way, way, way before your time. But there was a kid that played at Austin P, and his nickname was Fly, and he played basketball at Austin P, and the chant was "Fly is open, let's go P." Right, which is hilarious. Like it's hilarious and great, and he was a great player. And all I can think of is how many shirts could that guy have sold that said "Fly is open, let's go pee" on them? Like that would have been amazing.
Way too long to understand.
Oh well, I mean, I
was like, where the hell is it going?
But that's what I'm saying. Just the opportunity that you guys have that wasn't there before. I think I work in college athletics. I'm the voice of Northwestern State. I've been in there, and there's a lot of people that are in my position that are very anti-kids being able to make money, the NIL stuff. I love it. I think it's great that you have that opportunity, even if it does occasionally end up in, hey, this guy's going to go to this school because maybe there's a little more NIL money. But I've got to imagine for you, going to LSU was never an issue, right? Like I've got to imagine LSU was kind of the dream for you.
Yeah, growing up here, I think when I was when I was presented the opportunity to be able to come here and play baseball and get a degree, I think knowing the history behind the program and all the players that have come before me, I think that was the big difference maker. And then obviously being close to home, so my parents were able to see me play. And yeah, it's cool to bring something back home for the state of Louisiana itself, too.
Yeah, it's a remarkable run. Talking to Hayden Travinski, LSU catcher. Okay, so walk us through. You lose that second game to Wake Forest, and the story went that Jay Johnson got up on the whiteboard and basically said, "Hey, here's our map, our road map to a championship. Here's who we're starting tomorrow. Here's where we're starting, and on and on." How true is that story, and kind of what does that tell us, the regular listening audience and fans, about the meticulous nature of Jay Johnson?
Well, to the fans, I'd say you have the perfect head coach that you want for what, as a fan, I think this fan base wants. No one cares about winning more than he does. And that story is entirely true. He got up on the board, wrote who was available on the board, up until leading to that point until Thursday when Skenes was going to throw again. He was like, "Do you guys believe that we're going to be able to do that?" And then we were all like, "Yeah, of course." And then they said, "All right, let's go do it." That was it. And that was probably one of our shorter meetings of the year. But I think the punctuality of it and the statement behind it really kind of like lit a fire within us.
Jay Johnson has this reputation of being, as I mentioned, meticulous, a lot of film study, kind of I don't say an offensive genius, but he knows so much about offense and how it works and how to hit and all of those things. What's that been like learning from a guy like that?
I think you appreciate the small things within the offensive side of the game. At least that's what's done for me. Just being able to move runners and execute, and the game, and he has a good saying, the game doesn't change, people change. And I think that's the biggest thing, when you get into like high leverage, pressure filled situations. And I think that's what we did a really good job of as a team, where situations didn't make us. We kind of knew our plan going into every single game, and if we just executed, the result would take care of itself. Whereas, like I said, teams getting those, especially when you're in the games we had during Omaha, things can go left really quick, but we did a good job of staying dialed in throughout the whole game, and that resulted in extra inning wins, close wins. I mean, it was just special to be a part of.
We obviously, as talk show hosts, are dissecting things all the time, and during that little kind of mini slump, and I keep reminding everyone, you never lost more than 2 games in a row. Wasn't like there was some sort of major slump, but from where you started, slippage just a little bit, and a lot of that was the bullpen and those guys trying to get it figured out. What was it then like to watch those guys in Omaha have the kind of response that they did, because the bullpen was nothing short of magnificent?
Right. I think it was the perfect ending to what could have happened. Because, we went through a spell where things weren't going our way, but it was a perfect time for us to make adjustments to continue to get better and improve our play, and that's what we did. We met during the SEC tournament, and we said, all right, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. A lot of it was just kind of adjusting where our mind was at. It's a long year, and you got to stick with it. I mean, we played, 72 games, 71 games?
Yeah.
It's a long season, so as long as you stick with it and you're right in the head, right in the heart, and that was the big emphasis of the meetings we had. It was just to continue to get better and trust ourselves. And when we got into those situations, we did, and it worked out.
Well, certainly nobody was hotter than you were for a long stretch of that season coming to at the end. Tell me about, working back. They documented all the injuries that you've dealt with through your time at LSU, and and obviously you're splitting time with a guy who's very good, especially defensively with Milazzo. Kind of walk me through seeing that hot streak starting to get more at bats and more regular at bats, which obviously makes things easier. What was that like when that level of confidence was starting to blossom in that stretch?
Well, I think a lot of it came down to self-belief. I was in a situation where I knew I was going to get an opportunity if I just stayed patient and focused on the day-to-day work. And that's what I did. There was no change in attitude, no change in mindset. I told Coach Johnson from from the start of the year. I said, I trust you because, like you said earlier, no one really does more work than he does in terms of the film, the studying. So I said, look, I trust you. I know it'll come. I'll be ready when it does come. And thankfully it was. And I didn't let situations dictate my plan or let anything speed me up. I was just glad I got the opportunity.
All right, so for those of us that have never done this, like my claim to fame is I had an unassisted triple play in T-ball when I was in kindergarten because I was the only kid who actually knew what was going on the field. It's why I ended up here and not, playing a sport somewhere because I wasn't super athletic, but I had the knowledge. Just what does it feel like to hit a home run out of a stadium? Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Like, what does that feel like to hit just absolutely mash one?
Well, a lot of times you completely black out to the point where you don't even know what's really happening until a few minutes after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of the success I think I had just came from being really grateful for everything, and I'm grateful that you had me on this today. And sorry, I lost track.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But that's the thing, right? Like it's got to be awesome to have those kind of moments, but also surreal because you want to make sure you're trying to enjoy the moments as they happen, but you still have to be locked in.
Yeah, exactly. No, you said it exactly how it is. You kind of, it's just like a state of elation and almost like you just witnessed it, not even that you did it. If that makes sense, it's kind of you're watching it with everybody else. Yeah,
it's an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot like when I eat a good plate of ribs or Rogers has the right Budweiser. It's you have an out-of-body experience. Talking to Hayden. Yeah, look, brother, I can. If you need barbecue hookups, just let me know. I can take care of you now. I got you taken care of. Hayden Travinski, catcher for LSU. All right, what's it like to catch Skenes?
See, I was very, very nervous going into it because I hadn't done it throughout the fall or the early spring. And I can understand why. I don't think defensively early in the year that I was ready to do so, because when someone's stuff is that good, you can't really have a liability behind the plate.
Sure.
And the more I got comfortable with myself, obviously I got chances, and that was a big thing with him is I was worried. I was like, oh, man, 102. I wonder how it's going to play. But when you got to do is putting it exactly where he wants to every single pitch, it was honestly easier than catching someone with really average stuff.
Sure.
A, because it was in my glove a lot of times. Nobody was touching it. And then B, because he was just that much better than everybody else.
Can you significantly feel 101 versus 93?
Yeah, there's a big difference. It gets quick. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I mean, does it hurt? Like, is the hand
no,
like?
Well, I luckily all three of us throughout the whole year we had like padded gloves. We taped our fingers entirely. We had a lot of extra protection other than the glove. Okay. So we had to make, especially while catching that, you kind of got to be careful.
Well, yeah, you don't want to take that anywhere but in the glove if you can. That's nasty. All right, so. An opportunity like this to give back. We mentioned Mansfield Road Walmart tomorrow, 2 to 5, $20 donation to the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which, by the way, that money's going to stay here in town. Bossier or Shreveport, I guess, whichever side of the river you want to call it. But what's that like to have a platform that you do to go from, hey, I'm a good player at Airline High School, I've been injured at LSU, and now I'm a national champion. I'm recognizable. I've got shirts and hats, and to be able to have that kind of platform to give back, I've got to imagine that's so fulfilling.
This is what it's all about, really. I think you want to get to a position where it's not necessarily about yourself. It's about how you can impact other people and the communities around you. And everyone in Shreveport Bossier has been so kind and supporting over the last few years, especially when I wasn't playing. I'm getting messages telling me good luck, etc. And I can't thank everybody enough for all that. And being able to help those in need, I think, is such a huge thing. And just having the chance to do so, I'm so grateful for.
No, it's really awesome cause. Did you get a Jello shot?
No, I did not. I
Oh.
saw it, and I saw how thick it was, and I wanted absolutely no part of it.
Hey, as a teetotaler, I totally get it, man. All I drink's Diet Coke and water. So,
Oh, it did not look appetizing.
oh well.
People they're having to roll it out of the bottom of the cups like it's a Go-Gurt. And I'm like, I don't want to drink that shit.
Yeah, Rogers and I, Rogers, my producer, Rogers Hampton, and myself, we're both big texture guys when it comes to food.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't.
Yeah, if it I don't like a raw oyster because I don't like the texture of it. But you give me a good cooked oyster that's a little firmer, and I'm down with it. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would want a Go-Gurt shot. I just don't. You know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that doesn't sound super appetizing. All right, so what's next, right? Off season, kind of moving forward. What do you kind of envision as that sort of next step for you personally?
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens coming up this weekend. Again, I'm so thankful for this year and to have played with such a special group of guys, and I think that's what made this year so fun. Because you take it back to high school, that's what makes high school so enjoyable, being around those kids you grew up with and being able to experience competitive games and fighting for that state championship. And I think it's similar in that aspect in college, where we got lucky with the special group of people, and we got to just keep pushing and fighting and competing all year. And I don't know, whatever comes and whatever happens next, I'll be ready for, I'm excited for, and I look forward to.
All right, final thing for me. We have an internal debate going on about who you look like. I think you look like Liev Schreiber, the actor.
Yeah, I get that one a lot.
Do you get that? See, okay, good. My boss, who is a huge Doc guy, Dr. Disrespect, thinks you look like Dr. Disrespect.
See, I gotta go with, I prefer Doc on that one.
Yeah.
The mullet, the stash, the violent speed, momentum.
Sure. Two-time champion. I mean.
Yeah, back-to-back 93, 94.
Yeah. I mean, two-time. You can't go wrong with that guy. Look, let me tell you something. It has been an absolute pleasure watching you and watching this team all season long. Thank you so much for taking some time for us. Good luck tomorrow. Have a lot of fun. Hopefully raise a bunch of money, and we look forward to hearing your name called.
I appreciate you, and thank you for your support, and thanks for having me today.
You got it. Hayden Travinski, catcher for the LSU baseball squad.